The eyes of the world were on Saudi Arabia as US and Russian diplomats met for high-stakes talks. Secretary of State Marco Rubio led the American delegation. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov represented Moscow. Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman played the role of host. This high-level meeting marked a significant moment in the complex relationship between the two global powers. The talks, shrouded in secrecy, aimed to address the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. The U.S. delegation arrived with a clear objective: to find a path towards ending the war in Ukraine. They emphasized the need for a ceasefire and a return to the negotiating table. Russia, on the other hand, sought a broader reset of U.S.-Russia relations. They pushed back against Western sanctions and demanded recognition of their security concerns. The talks, however, were overshadowed by a notable absence. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky was not invited to participate in the Saudi talks. This decision, while controversial, highlighted the complex geopolitical realities at play. The U.S. maintained that any agreement would involve consultations with Ukraine. Russia, however, questioned Zelensky's legitimacy, citing delayed elections and the ongoing martial law in Ukraine. The decision to exclude Ukraine from the talks sparked immediate reactions. Zelensky, in a pointed statement, asserted that Ukraine would not recognize any agreements made without its direct involvement. He questioned the legitimacy of negotiations that sidelined the very nation at the heart of the conflict. The Ukrainian president embarked on his own diplomatic tour of the Middle East. Zelensky aimed to rally support for Ukraine's position and counter the narrative being shaped in Saudi Arabia. He was scheduled to meet with Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. His goal was to present Ukraine's perspective and ensure their voice was heard. The absence of Ukraine from the negotiating table underscored the delicate balance of power. It also revealed the limitations of international diplomacy in the face of entrenched conflicts. The U.S. found itself in a difficult position, attempting to mediate between two warring parties while also managing its own strategic interests. The U.S.-Russia talks in Saudi Arabia unfolded against a backdrop of unease and uncertainty in Europe. European leaders, while not directly involved in the negotiations, closely followed the developments. French President Emmanuel Macron convened a meeting of European leaders in Paris ahead of the Saudi talks. The message was clear: European unity and support for Ukraine remained unwavering. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer echoed these sentiments, emphasizing the need for a lasting peace deal that ensured European security. He stressed the importance of collective security and the need for a united front against Russian aggression. The European Union, while not a monolithic bloc, found common ground in their support for Ukraine. They remained wary of Russia's intentions and expressed their readiness to contribute to peacekeeping efforts in the region. The outcome of the Saudi talks, they knew, would have far-reaching consequences for the future of Europe. The U.S.-Russia talks in Saudi Arabia were not merely about the conflict in Ukraine, they were also a reflection of the deep-seated mistrust and historical baggage that have defined the relationship between these two global powers for decades. The Cold War may be over, but its legacy continues to cast a long shadow over international relations. The talks, while shrouded in secrecy, offered a glimmer of hope for dialogue and diplomacy in a world increasingly defined by conflict and division. The road ahead, however, remained fraught with challenges. The future of U.S.-Russia relations and indeed the stability of the global order hung in the balance.